And with that warning in effect, the extreme temperature can be just as dangerous for animals as it is for people. Eric Friesen has more.
With temperatures expected to reach -46 with the wind chill on Thursday and Friday, pets, just like people, should be protected from the elements.
Yeah, so their paw pads on their feet are very sensitive, kind of similar to our hands, our cheeks, our nose, that can get frostbite, especially from walking on any like really icy or really cold areas.
John Punchin of the SPCA recommends that pet owners keep the length of dog walks to a minimum at this time of year.
As a pet owner, it's really important that, most importantly right now, is that you simply shouldn't be letting your animals out for any prolonged period of time, and it should be with supervision.
Longer-haired and thick-coated dog breeds, like Huskies and Golden Retrievers, are better equipped for colder climates, though it's still not safe to keep them outside.
So each dog is a little bit different for sure. You have our little Chihuahuas that certainly can't handle very long out in the cold, just enough to go and pee and come back in. We have a bigger, furrier dog. They can handle a little bit longer.
While pets like dogs and cats need to be shielded from the cold, there is a concern for farm animals too.
It is definitely a concern for every farmer with horses, cattle, anything that lives outdoors, because it's impossible to bring them all into your living room. And but that shelter theory is huge.
While proper shelter should be the top priority for pets, it's also important to keep them hydrated. Eric Friesen, Newcap News.
Well, the Interval Home is a crucial organization in our community, giving women and children a safe place to stay while offering many outlets to ensure their safety and independence for years to come. I spoke with Angela Rooks-Trotzik about the organization's efforts. All right, so I'm joined here with Angela from the Interval Home. So we're here to talk about, the year of 2017. So I want to start with the end of 2016 because you amalgamated with the Lloydminster Youth Center. Yeah. So what has that transition been like, and how has it been creating two organizations coming into one?
It's actually been pretty amazing. We started the conversation probably 2.5, almost 3 years ago, which tells you that a lot of thought and conversation went into that. And we formally amalgamated in September of last year and then moved into the new youth center in February of last year. So we've seen the full circle happen for us, and we're now starting to see the implementation of a fully integrated programming. So one entry point for people who are impacted by violence, abuse, homelessness, and youth who are impacted by those and other issues. So we've seen some barriers erased. We've seen some efficiencies created in our administration, and which has translated more dollars directly into programming, which is really exciting. So we've integrated that way, and now we're starting to see the fruits of our labor, if you will, in the programming element and the program delivery piece.
And I know obviously the youth center and coming together was such a big part of the year, but other than that, what has really stood out for you as a director and what you guys have done in 2017?
Yeah, I mean, that certainly was a huge piece of what our plans were, but moving forward for 2018, we're excited to be solidifying some land for a new shelter. So we really will be rolling ahead with our plans for, getting the land, our drawings for a new shelter, and moving forward with a capital campaign. So that will be our number one priority moving into 2018.
And so what do you hope the future of the Interval Home has in store?
Yeah, I think the future of the Interval Home for me remains one where we're able to provide relevant and high-level services to people impacted by, family violence, abuse, homelessness, and for youth. I think, there's ways to continue doing what we're doing at the level we're doing it, but there's also ways to continue to collaborate and explore other ways we can reach people even further. So certainly a new shelter is, like I said, top of that list, but continuing the level of services that we do provide is imperative as well.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me, and I hope you guys have a great 2018.
Great, thank you so much.
And as the holiday season winds down this week, stress remains an issue during and after the festivities, rather. Josh Ryan has ways to find peace of mind in this week's Healthy Living.
Despite the mirth and cheer of Christmas time, many people need relief from the helter-skelter nature of the season and even the holiday blues that occurs right after.
There's a lot of energy and focus and a lot of hope that's put into this time of year. And after it's all done, even if it all goes well, there can be a bit of a letdown.
Relaxing is key to bringing down stress and getting into a routine of good sleep. One option for many is drinking tea after supper.
Peppermint tea is spearmint tea to help you relax in the evening. Chamomile tea is good. Certainly are better than drinking copious amounts of coffee at that time.
Physical activity earlier in the day will help settle you in the evening.
Exercise is one of the best ways to reduce stress, to build your body back, and to just help you to feel that sense of joy and energy and focus and enlightenment.
Going for a walk is the natural first step, but doing something out of the norm can have a bigger impact on the body, which is why hockey remains so popular.
Going for a walk is great, but you're only using the parts that you're used to using all the time. As soon as you get on a set of skates, you're using all kinds of muscles that you're not used to using just to hold yourself erect, right?
It's important to make sure that this exercise isn't done immediately following a feast.
If you have too much of a large, high fiber, high fat, high carbohydrate, I guess like a large meal right before an activity, it can actually impede your performance because you're feeling heavier.
And watching what you eat in general will play a huge role in reducing stress, especially at the end of the holiday season.
Work on limiting it. Work on your portion control when you're eating the sweet food, the fatty food, etc.
Josh Ryan, Newcap News.
It was seeded in the summer but never harvested, so the first frost stopped its maturity, but its nutrition is still intact. In this week's Agriculture Report, Gerard Lampow finds out how this holiday treat is saving costs for producers.
So we'll graze about 145 mature cows combined with about 45 heifers.
The Lloydmins seeded their corn in June and left it in the field to mature, even weathering the frost. The treat takes about a month off the winter rotation and gives good nutritional value.
And there's been a lot of producers in this area, especially commercially, that have utilized it for, up to 10 or 12 years. And so we're relatively new to it compared to a lot of folks, and we were able to learn about it through our customers.
This is the second winter that they are using corn grazing at the Big Gully farm. Leachman says it's a challenge to determine exactly when the corn will mature and the first frost stops the maturity.
So you have to try and find a balance of getting the plant growing early enough so that there's enough nutrition or starch in the plant to be beneficial from an energy standpoint, but also try and not have it too hot or too overload for the cattle so that it becomes a problem from an acidosis issue.
He says the first frost was back in mid-October, giving the corn a long time to mature.
I think it's happy as far as the results are concerned this year. The only thing that I think has impeded it is we've had so much wind this fall, so a lot of the plants have kind of broke over, busted off, but so far it looks like most of the cobs have stayed on the plants and not been buried into the snow.
It's a small plot, about 21 acres, which he could increase to about 65 acres next year. He has grass hay or alfalfa mixed with hay, which he will use on the cows before switching to corn.
And then we'll transition back to the hay later on into the winter, and once the cows have calved and start lactating, then we'll maybe supplement them with some protein pellets.
Corn is high in starch for energy, which is needed for winter and calving season, but it's a bit protein and calcium deficient, so producers will add supplements to get the best balance.
That's one of the big things as you try and get towards calving. You'd like to reassure yourself that the cows are in very good body condition score and that they maintain that so that they can lactate.
Gerard Lampow, Newcap News.